Hello guys, episode 2, slight progress I think we'll call this video. So I've unburied the lathe and given it a bit of a clean, various bits and pieces and a bit of an oil. It needs some more attention, but it will do for now in terms of what I need to do next. So the plan for today is to get this off the pallet that it's currently sitting on. I don't think you guys can see it at the minute, just bear with me. Struggling with my cheapy camera and rubbishy tripod, so just have to bear with me until I get some better gear. I've just got the cheap stuff for now, just to get going. So you can see the lathe's currently sitting there on a pallet. We're going to get the lathe off the pallet today. You'll also see the previous owner had put some rather long jacking bolts on each end of the lathe, which are really useful for helping get it on and off pallets and moving it around, so we'll be making use of those later today. So as I say, plan for today is we're going to get that moved, and I'll bring you back in a moment and show you the area where it's going to go to and what we're going to do with some of the timber that you saw in episode 1's video in terms of boarding the wall out. So I'll bring you back in a moment when we get to that point. Okay, so we're back. I've cleared a space on the other side of the garage, which is where the lathe I think is going to live, and that will allow me, if I need to put anything longer through the headstock, I can open the garage door and I'll have a bit of space to have something slightly longer, some bar sticking through the back end of the headstock. So I think for the moment that's the plan where the lathe is going to go. And if I move over to the wood we showed yesterday, the plan there is, you'll see those reels of, that's damp-proof course. The plan is to staple the damp-proof course to the battens, screw the battens to the wall, and then another layer of damp-proof course on the outside of the batten, and then the wood, which is OSB, which is damp resistant and damp tolerant, on the front side of the battens. So that's the plan. I know it's not the best idea, just covering up the dampness, but it's the only way really of doing anything in here other than knocking the garage down and starting again. So at least it will give me a fresh, clean surface that I can paint white, and it should be reasonably damp tolerant. So that's the plan. I'll bring you back when we've got a bit more progress. Well, we're a few minutes later, guys, and we've got the first batten cut and on the wall. So there you go, that's the first batten on, and that's got a layer of damp-proof course sat behind it to isolate the damp from the batten, and there'll be another layer of damp-proof course stapled to the front of that before I put the boarding on the front. So that will create a cavity between the wall and the boarding, and I intend to leave a half-inch gap at the top and the bottom just to let some air flow through behind the boarding, just in the hopes that it will help keep things a little bit drier. And long-term aim is I'm going to put a fairly decent size dehumidifier in the workshop, and I shall have that running during the winter months, probably most of the time, to a permanent drain which will keep the moisture levels down. So hopefully all of those things together will be an improvement on where it is today and help keep some of the moisture out and stop things going to rusty. I'll bring you back in a few minutes when we've got a few more battens on and probably the first bit of boarding in place. Okay, so here we are, about 20 minutes later, and we've now got 4 battens fixed to the wall with damp-proof membrane back and front, ready for the first set of boarding to go on, and I'll bring you back when we get to that point. Well, we're back 40-50 minutes later, and that's looking significantly better than that old wall with bricks and paint flaking off it and everything else. And it's a decent surface. I can attach various different brackets, shelves, whatever to that, and it will be a decent backdrop for the lathe. Obviously it will look better with a coat of paint on top. I'm probably going to use Santex paint, what they use for painting the outside of buildings, because that's damp tolerant and potentially wipeable down, I guess, if there's oil splashes and things like that on it. I need to give that some thought, but that's the start of the wood boarding done. Gives you an idea of what I'm thinking about. It probably doesn't meet any kind of building codes or regulations or anything like that, and it's not meant to. It's just meant to cover up the dampness so that I've got a decent surface to look at and to hang things off really. So progress, I think I will call that. Next job now is to get the lathe moved from the side of the garage that you've seen it on over to that side of the garage, just temporarily for now, but we'll drop it off the pallet and somewhere in the right location, and then I'll bring you back when we've done that. Well, we're back, and I think we'll definitely be calling that progress. So we've got the first section of the boarding put up on the wall, and the lathe off the pallet, moved into a rough location. It all needs levelling up and everything, but it's there or thereabouts, and it's now starting to look like a lathe that could be done. It could be used for some work to be done on it. So it's good. I've powered it up just to run it. The belts are clicking a little bit. They need a bit of adjustment, I think, a bit of tightening. They've been sat in here for a while without being run, so I would imagine the damp has got to them a little bit. So we'll have a look at the condition of those. And so that's really the first major step taken in terms of changing what you saw in episode 1 into something that looks a little bit more like a workshop. So I hope that's been interesting. I realise there's not a lot of engineering work going on just yet. It all tends to be building work and moving stuff around, but hopefully it will be interesting enough to follow. I'm trying to keep it relatively short so that it doesn't get too tedious, and hopefully it will inspire somebody else to do something similar. So until the next episode, which may be in a week or two's time now, potentially with work commitments and everything else, we'll leave it there, guys, I think. So thanks for watching. If you're enjoying what you see, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Just before we go, a couple of things. That was West, and you'll see him again. He's always under your feet, and he'll make a guest appearance every now and again. And that there is a drink that I'm now having. Hello, West. He's back. He's 24/7. We should have called him, but we called him West instead. He keeps us on our feet, don't you, West? Hey, good boy. So thanks for watching, guys. Oh, one last thing, just what I remember. I've managed to do something that even the mighty Colin Furs can't, and I've doubled my subscriber count overnight. So when I woke up this morning, I had 2 subscribers. How good's that? Catch you next time. Bye.